According to the 2020 National Electrical Code, it is permissible to supply power to a plug-in microwave and a plug-in range hood from a single 20-amp circuit, provided certain conditions are met. Firstly, the receptacle serving the microwave and range hood must be exclusively dedicated to these two appliances. No other devices or loads should be connected to the circuit. Secondly, both the microwave and the range hood must be plug-in appliances, meaning they are connected to the electrical system via cord and plug, rather than being hardwired. Thirdly, the circuit must be protected by a 20-amp circuit breaker or fuse. This overcurrent protection device is essential to prevent overloading the circuit and potentially causing a fire. Fourthly, the wire size used for the circuit must be at least 12 American wire gauge copper. This gauge of wire is capable of safely carrying the 20 amps current without overheating. Now let us elaborate on each of these conditions to ensure a clear understanding of the requirements. Firstly, the dedicated nature of the receptacle is crucial. This means that the receptacle should not be used to power any other appliances or devices. Connecting additional loads to the circuit could overload it, leading to trip breakers or, in more severe cases, a fire hazard. It is essential to ensure that the receptacle is easily accessible and that the plugs of the microwave and range hood are securely inserted. Secondly, the requirement for plug-in appliances is based on the assumption that these appliances are designed to be easily disconnected from the electrical system for maintenance or replacement. Hardwired appliances, on the other hand, are typically connected directly to the building's wiring and require more effort to disconnect. This distinction is important for safety reasons, as it allows for quick isolation of the appliances in case of an electrical fault. Thirdly, the 20-amp circuit breaker or fuse serves as a critical safety device. It is designed to interrupt the flow of electricity if the current exceeds the rated capacity of the circuit, which in this case is 20 amps. This prevents overheating of the wires and reduces the risk of fire. It is crucial to ensure that the circuit breaker or fuse is properly sized for the circuit and that it is in good working condition. Regular inspection and testing of the circuit breaker or fuse are recommended to ensure its reliability. Fourthly, the 12 American wire gauge copper wire size is specified to ensure that the wires can safely carry the 20 amps current without overheating. The American wire gauge system is a standardized system for measuring wire diameters, with smaller numbers indicating larger wire sizes. Copper is the preferred material for electrical wiring due to its excellent conductivity and resistance to corrosion. Using a wire size smaller than 12 American wire gauge could result in excessive heat buildup, which could damage the insulation and potentially cause a fire. In addition to these requirements, it is essential to consider any local codes or regulations that may apply. The electrical codes can vary from one jurisdiction to another, and it is always best to check with the local building department to confirm the specific requirements for your area. Local codes may have additional restrictions or requirements that are not covered by the National Electrical Code. Failure to comply with local codes could result in fines or other penalties. Now let us delve deeper into the considerations for selecting the appropriate receptacle for this application. The receptacle should be rated for at least 20 amps and should be of a type suitable for the intended use. A standard duplex receptacle is typically sufficient for this application, but it is important to ensure that it is properly installed and securely mounted in the cabinet above the range. The receptacle should be grounded to provide an additional layer of safety. The grounding conductor should be connected to a properly grounded metal box or to a grounding bus bar in the electrical panel. Proper grounding helps to prevent electrical shock in the event of a fault. When installing the wiring for the circuit, it is important to follow all applicable electrical codes and safety guidelines. The wiring should be properly supported and protected from physical damage. Cable clamps or other approved methods should be used to secure the wiring to the electrical box and to the building structure. The wiring should be run in a neat and orderly manner, and all connections should be made securely. It is also important to label the circuit breaker or fuse that serves the microwave and range hood. This will help to identify the circuit in the event of a problem and will prevent accidental disconnection of the power to these appliances. The label should clearly indicate that the circuit is dedicated to the microwave and range hood only. In addition to the above considerations, it is also important to ensure that the microwave and range hood are properly installed and connected to the electrical system. Follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully when installing these appliances. Make sure that the power cords are in good condition and that the plugs are securely inserted into the receptacle. Do not use extension cords or adapters to connect the appliances to the electrical system, as these could overload the circuit or create a fire hazard. Regular inspection of the electrical system is also recommended to ensure its continued safety and reliability. Look for signs of damage or wear, such as frayed wires, cracked receptacles, or loose connections. If you notice any problems, have them repaired by a qualified electrician. It is also a good idea to have a qualified electrician inspect your electrical system periodically, even if you do not notice any problems. A professional inspection can help to identify potential problems before they become serious hazards. A National Electrical Code is a comprehensive set of standards for electrical wiring and equipment. It is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. The National Electrical Code is not law, but it is widely adopted by state and local governments. Compliance with the National Electrical Code is essential to ensure the safety of electrical installations. It is important to stay up to date on the latest version of the National Electrical Code and to follow its requirements carefully. The National Electrical Code covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. It also includes specific requirements for different types of occupancies, such as residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. The National Electrical Code is a valuable resource for electricians, contractors, and building inspectors. It provides detailed guidance on how to design and install electrical systems that are safe and reliable. In summary, providing a single 20-amp circuit or receptacle in the cabinet above the range to power a plug-in microwave and a plug-in range hood is permissible under the 2020 National Electrical Code, provided that the receptacle is dedicated to these two appliances only. The circuit is protected by a 20-amp circuit breaker or fuse, and the wire size is at least 12 American wire gauge copper. It is also essential to comply with all applicable local codes and regulations. Regular inspection and maintenance of the electrical system are recommended to ensure its continued safety and reliability. Remember to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns about electrical wiring or safety. Electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to prevent accidents. Always turn off the power to a circuit before working on it, and use appropriate safety equipment, such as insulated tools and gloves. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you. Secondly, consider the load calculation for the circuit. While a 20-amp circuit is generally sufficient for a microwave and range hood, it is important to verify that the total load of the appliances does not exceed the capacity of the circuit. The load calculation should take into account the wattage or amperage rating of each appliance. The wattage rating is typically found on a label on the appliance. The amperage rating can be calculated by dividing the wattage by the voltage of the circuit, which is typically 120 volts in residential applications. The total load of the appliances should not exceed 80% of the circuit's capacity, which is 16 amps for a 20-amp circuit. This is to account for continuous loads, which are defined as loads that operate for 3 hours or more at a time. If the total load exceeds 16 amps, it may be necessary to install a separate circuit for one of the appliances. Thirdly, it's good practice to install a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, receptacle for added safety. GFCI receptacles are designed to protect against electrical shock by detecting ground faults, which occur when electricity flows through an unintended path, such as a person's body. GFCI receptacles are required in certain locations, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. While a GFCI receptacle may not be required for a receptacle above the range, it is a good idea to install one for added safety, especially if the receptacle is located near a water source. GFCI receptacles can be easily installed in place of standard receptacles. Fourthly, When running the wiring for the circuit, it is important to use the correct type of cable. The cable should be rated for the voltage and amperage of the circuit and should be suitable for the environment in which it is installed. Non-metallic sheath cable, or NM cable, is commonly used for residential wiring. NM cable consists of 2 or more insulated wires enclosed in a plastic sheath. A cable should be sized appropriately for the circuit's amperage rating. For a 20 amp circuit, 12 American wire gauge NM cable is typically used. The cable should be installed in accordance with the National Electrical Code and all applicable local codes. Fifthly, ensure you securely fasten the microwave and range hood to prevent accidental disconnections. Consider using locking-type plugs and receptacles for additional security. This is not a typical requirement but would provide an extra level of safety to the occupants of the building. A little bit of extra effort to ensure connections are good to go a long way. Lastly, remember to consult the appliance manufacturer's instructions for specific electrical requirements. The manufacturer may specify certain wiring requirements or installation procedures that must be followed. The manufacturer's instructions should be followed in addition to the requirements of the National Electrical Code and local codes. Failure to follow the manufacturer's instructions could void the appliance's warranty or create a safety hazard. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to prevent accidents. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you. A qualified electrician has the knowledge and experience to safely and correctly install electrical wiring and equipment.